Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Feel free to use the chat to introduce yourselves if you'd like. You can say, your name, your role, where you're from, whatever you'd like to share with us today, feel free. All right, so we have packed information today, so I will get started in about 2 minutes, or like maybe 1 minute. We'll get started. Great, let's get started. So before we get into the slides today, I just want to say thank you for everyone that joined us today. My name is Keisha McCrae. I am the Senior Manager of Academy Resources, and I will be working this year with some of you who decide to go through the POE process, Program of Excellence, and really I'm happy that you were able to join us today. And then later on, you'll hear also from Celeste, who will be talking a little bit more about her experiences with the Program of Excellence as a program that has gone through the process. So really excited. Hope you can stay on and, interact with us and join us. And if you have questions that are not addressed in the presentation, feel free to drop them in the chat. And at the end, we probably will definitely have time for some questions. So if you have some questions that are just burning, please feel free to drop them in the chat if you don't hear them in the Q&A, or you don't hear them during the presentation, and we will address them during Q&A. So thank you for that. Okay, so I just want to get us started, just grounding us in Program of Excellence and the work by just keeping in mind NHSA's mission, that, we would love to coalesce and inspire and support the Head Start field as a leader in early childhood development and education. We are compelled to fulfill this mission by the promise of all possible outcomes. That includes one powerful, united Head Start voice, and a collaborative Head Start field, nonpartisan support of an increased federal commitment to Head Start, healthier, empowered children and families, and stronger, more vibrant communities. And so today's agenda, we will be discussing an overview of NHSA's Quality Initiative Program, also known as the Program of Excellence. Of course, we'll talk about why apply, how to apply, program highlights, and then questions, as I mentioned a little bit before. So the NHSA Quality Initiative today. NHSA defines the mark of quality with a framework better known as indicators of excellence. These indicators of excellence reflect established program criteria. We try to extract evidence of the ways your program goes above and beyond the Head Start performance standards and describe the best and most effective practices for motivating and helping programs make lasting improvements in their services to children and families. And so one thing that I really would like to highlight is this bullet number 2, regarding going above the performance standards, beyond and above the performance standards. And we'd like to really look for the innovations that definitely come out of your program. So as you're thinking about, highlighting, we know that, programs are following performance standards, but really highlighting some of those areas of innovation is something that we're also really looking for within the Program of Excellence. And the history. I love the two photos or logos on the slides for this particular slide. This kind of gives that nostalgic, timeline of the Program of Excellence. And these are the two of the older logos that were associated with the Program of Excellence. And so it was developed in early 1990s. It grew out of NHSA's initiative to improve and highlight program quality, high quality operations and practices in 10 program areas. And then what I do want to highlight here is that there were two levels, or there used to be two levels. One was Program of Achievement and the other one Program of Excellence. And first programs were awarded in 1995. But now we just have one, we have one program of excellence. So I do feel like, it's important to highlight the history and why that quality matters, and kind of even seeing that this is spanned it beyond many, many years now. And so there was a redesign of the Program of Excellence that took place in redesign in 2015 to align with the NHSA quality indicators and the Baldrige performance excellence criteria and criteria that was added in 2023. So with that, that includes research. As we know, research informs a lot of best practices and looking at innovative and new ways to perform in terms of excellence. And so we want to bring some of that criteria and research and evidence-based criteria in with this particular performance indicator. And so we are looking at feedback obtained also from Head Start programs, program directors, participants, and non-participants as well of our QI program. And as I mentioned before, in terms of this redesign, Christina Ellis, she used to oversee this program, and she really revived it. I just want to definitely acknowledge and give a shout out to Christina because she has really done an excellent job with taking this program to the next level and reviving it. And so, as you can see, since that redesign, we have 13 programs that were awarded Program of Excellence in 2022 and 11 programs that were awarded Program of Excellence in 2023. And then there were also 12 programs that also had Program of Excellence in 2024. And so, if when you get these slides, um, you will see, and even if you go to the Program of Excellence, there is this section that's on the right-hand side. It says there's a link here. And this is the link that you can follow to find the indicators that I've been speaking of in the last slide. And so the quality indicator sections are divided into a few different areas. Those areas are organizational development, engagement, program enrichment, and innovation. And so I do want to use an example of one of the indicators that you may see. So as you know, I started off this presentation with NHSA's mission. And so this particular example highlights how does the mission guide the program's operations. One thing I'm going to say is that there is suggested evidence that's here, but sometimes there's not going to be evidence that's required in all of the indicators. But this particular example does include evidence. And so the suggested evidence to answer this particular quality indicator is the vision statement, the mission statement, and core values. Scoring criteria. The response provides an in-depth description of how the mission guides the program, including the mission statement is understood and can be articulated by staff, parents, and governing body. Training for staff, parents, and governing body includes information on and discussion of program mission. Program goals and objectives align with the mission. The program design and service delivery approach reflects the mission. And so you may want to talk about, the program missions. And then some programs may say, well, I have a vision statement, I have a mission statement, but I don't have core values. This is one of those opportunities for you to highlight. This is something that your program is working on next. I what I would always say that even if there is something that is not necessarily evident, to still speak to it, because it really helps guide, the work, and for the reviewers to know kind of what's upcoming and next for your programs, as well. At the bottom of this area, it says questions to consider, as you answer this particular indicator. How do senior leaders set your organization's vision, mission, and values? You may want to speak to that. How do senior leaders deploy your organization's values, mission, values of your leadership system to workforce, to parents, governing body, and stakeholders? And then how do senior leaders' actions reflect a commitment to the organization's values? What the accreditation means. So, the 3-month application process and virtual meetings give programs an opportunity to showcase all facets of their operations. And this includes leadership, effective and efficient management, transparent and sound fiscal stewardship, informed, responsive, and informed, responsible, and responsive program governance, genuine partnering with and involvement of parents in all aspects of the program, highly experienced and educated staff, state-of-the-art programming, and quality services that reflect and respond to the aspirations of the needs of children and families. And I do want to kind of go back up and just mention this piece right here. There is a 3-month application process. You'll have a time frame to look at all the indicators and, of course, gather evidence. And now you'll hear a little bit about that in the actual example. So I don't want to get too in detail, but just listen out for that and ways that some programs have chosen to approach that process. But then also there will be virtual kind of meetings to help answer questions as you go. Maybe, um, just being able to sit and think about certain things or ask certain questions. And I will be the one kind of facilitating those meetings. And so if anyone has questions throughout this process, definitely I will be here to support you in this process. So I just want to just kind of highlight the level of support, but also the time frame for the application process as well. Okay, benefits of participation. A thorough Head Start specific organization evaluation is done. Identification of strengths in coaching in areas of continuous improvement. Announcement sent to your senators, representatives, and state governor. Recognition at NHSA's conference and NHSA publication. Use of NHSA Program of Excellence accreditation logo. An entrance into community of best and most innovative educational programs across the country. And as you can see, there's an example here of one of the representatives definitely congratulating a Head Start program on becoming or being named a program of excellence. And I thought this was really a great highlight on this slide of a representative acknowledging program of excellence. And then the application overview. So program profile. Using the program profile form, all applicants must include key program profile information about their Head Start program or Early Head Start program, including evidence of full compliance with Head Start performance standards, evidence of financial integrity and program accountability, including 3 consecutive years of independent audit reports and the program's most recent annual report referred to by the Head Start Act. 3, a brief written narrative description below of the families and communities served by your program, including family and community strengths and challenges, and how your program is meeting the needs of the community. The demonstration of innovation. Applicants must submit written narrative responses that thoroughly address how they are meeting the needs of children and families in their program and the needs of the community. And then the third is demonstration of quality, comprehensive quality. Applicants must provide a written narrative responses that thoroughly address how the program systems and practices meet or exceed the indicators of excellence. An application and review process. So as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, you'll have 3 months to complete. February through April. I will say that this time frame, we've shifted it some to move down a month. So we're really looking at March through May for this particular time frame. And so you'll get that on the updated slide. The documents uploaded online in the program folder, and that program folder will be provided to you if you are moving forward in this process. Attending all 3 online sessions. Those are sessions that I mentioned also earlier, sessions that, programs attend with me. And then $3,500 in terms of the application fee. Professionals with extensive knowledge of and experience in Head Start, Early Head Start will review the application elements and the NHSA quality indicators to determine if the program has met the NHSA quality initiative criteria. And then the Program of Excellence Designation is awarded for a term of 5 years. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in terms of program support. So of course you will receive the online application training, a narrative template, application Q&A document, and then of course NHSA staff support. All these things are a part or included in this particular process. And I mentioned eligibility a little bit earlier, but I'm going to reiterate it here. Your program would have to be an active and current NHSA member. There is a way to learn more about membership also on the slide to the right here. Full compliance with the Head Start performance standards. Program is not currently subjected to competition indicated in 1304.11. And then 25 programs annually. So we do accept 25 programs annually for the Program of Excellence. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Celeste Erin Presley. She and her program were recipients of the 2023 Program of Excellence. And Erin is the Head Start project manager at Community Action Council. And so I'm going to, Erin, if it's okay, I'm going to stop sharing the slides for a second so that you're able to just, fully be engaged with the participants for today. Is that okay with you?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing now.
So first I'll introduce myself. Thank you, Keisha, for the introduction. My name is Celeste Presley. I am the Head Start Project Manager at Community Action Council in Lexington, Kentucky. We actually have 5 Head Start programs, and we have 1,683 children in our programs. Like Keisha mentioned, we were awarded the Program of Excellence Accreditation in 2023. We were one of 11 programs to successfully get that accreditation. So I'm on today to chat with all of you about our experience and some lessons learned and things like that. Please go ahead and drop any questions you might have in the chat. I will be totally honest with you. I am a big fan of NHSA. I'm a big fan of Program of Excellence, but they don't pay me. So I will be totally honest with you about our experience. So just a couple of things that I'll go over that were relevant to us when we took over, this project of Program of Excellence. This is not a way for you to say how you are meeting expectations. This is not a review from the Office of Head Start. You absolutely should be meeting those expectations, but this is a quality initiative. So you really want to show how you're going above and beyond. Yes, we are compliant and this is how, but here's how we take it a step further. This is how we ensure we're being innovative, or we're being resourceful, or we're being more efficient than we have to be. Those are the things you really want to address when you're talking about your program. What sets you apart? What makes you a special program? Okay. And to kind of back that up, let me just say, I know Keisha mentioned that they will accept 25 applications per year. you may have noticed that in 2022, 23, and 24, far fewer than 25 applicants were actually awarded the Program of Excellence Designation. There's a reason for that. It is hard, it is competitive, and it is very time consuming. Now, it is more than worthwhile. We have been just so excited since we received our accreditation. We still talk about it pretty much every week. We have videos and posts on our social media pages and, of course, on our community action website. It is something that we're very proud of. We have received recognition from our state and local governments for this achievement, so it is absolutely worthwhile, but it is certainly something that you do need to have time to focus on, and you absolutely need to have a good team to support you throughout. This is not the type of project that you can take on by yourself and just do it at your desk and then turn it in without getting input from anyone else. You will need experts in everything ranging from your HR, IT, and fiscal operations to potentially your frontline day-to-day staff on what they're doing in the classrooms and how they're performing their duties. So we were very excited. Again, we're still very excited to be a program of excellence. And I'd love to answer any questions if you guys have any. Sure. So Katie asks, what was the step that required the most time for us during the application process? So the quality indicators, I think this may have changed a little bit since 2023. At the time, there were 41. And so think of it as 41 opportunities to prove how valuable your program is to the children and families that are enrolled in your program. You will need to back all of those answers up with evidence and data and potentially paperwork and forms. Anything you have that you can kind of prove what you're saying, you're going to want to include. So the process as a whole, Keisha mentioned, is 3 months long. You will absolutely want to take that entire 3 months and make sure you are consistently working through this process to answer those questions and get the supporting documentation that you need. Some questions are a little more involved than others, but generally speaking, you can break those questions up across the 3 months, set a goal for yourself of how many you'd like to complete, read through the questions, organize with the staff at your agency that are responsible for that department or that type of operation, and then kind of go from there. We have so many more questions. I'm so excited. I'll try to be quicker. How often is the renewal? It is a 5-year designation. So we received ours in 2023. It is valid until 2028. What are the most common items that programs fail to meet to be recognized? Keisha, do you want to speak to that one?
Yes, I was actually typing a response. I was really saying it could vary, right? It really just depends. But I think that after just hearing some of the feedback, it's really not answering an indicator in completion. Like you may have touched on it, but really doing a deep dive into it. And I would say just everything that you mentioned in terms of a plan of execution is also something that I would say, like starting off with, like who's a part of the team, who's going to gather the information, who's going to proofread, who's going to, just kind of getting some logistics things in place kind of helps with making sure that you're answering things in completion, if that makes sense. Another program let me know that they really identified, they really didn't want to break it up too much, but they did have meetings to talk about the application, especially if someone else is going to be answering indicators. So just really also planning those meetings to talk, in detail with your teams. And I hope that answers that. And Celeste, if you want to, kind of expand anything I've just said or noticed, or like saying, hey, oh, I may have thought I answered this in detail, but I might needed to provide evidence of that. If you want to speak to that, you can.
Yeah, so they're not throwing you to the wolves. The questions are very well worded. They give you a lot of insight that you can use to help answer the questions, and they do tell you what they're looking for. But I cannot stress enough, just like Keisha just mentioned, make sure you are answering the question. I know as Head Start folks, we get very excited about our kids in our program, and sometimes we might get off on a tangent. And that's fine. This is built to do that, but you also have to make sure that you are answering the question that they're asking you and that you have proof of doing that. Using that, I will segue into some of these other questions we have. Jennifer asks, can you say a little bit about how you prepared your team and how long it took? Yes. So we are quite a large agency. We are a community action agency. I know a lot of you dropped in the chat that you were with community action agencies as well. So as you know, we have all kinds of programs. Head Start is one of many that we have. We were very serious about approaching this process, all hands on deck. And so the director of our child development programs, who runs our Head Start programs and a few others, had a meeting with our strategic leadership team, including our executive director and the heads of all of our other departments and programs, and said, this is an initiative. We are trying to get this designation. We're going to need all hands on deck. Can we count everyone in? You know, these are the benefits of the program. Of course, everyone agreed. They were all very excited and supportive. And so having that preparation, having that buy-in from the beginning from your senior leadership is definitely key, because you will need them to answer questions. You will need them to assign staff to answer questions. You will need them to provide supporting documentation. And so again, this is absolutely not something you can do on your own. That buy-in really is key. So a good question, Jennifer. Kathy says, has it influenced your future strategy as an organization? Absolutely it has. So one of the great things about Program of Excellence was that once we got into the questions and started answering them, we recognized that we're doing some really cool stuff. And sometimes until we see it all written down in front of us, compiled, we fail to recognize just how great we are as an agency and as a program. So just very recently, we did what we called an innovative session with our child development directors and management team. And we decided to expound on some of the things that we were already doing that we had included in our Program of Excellence application. So now we had a question in the chat, I can't find it now, about like, give us an example of going above and beyond. So during COVID, we knew, as many of you did, that our children and families were really going to struggle without the resources that they received from us every day in the Head Start program. And so with the blessing of the Office of Head Start, of course, we developed what we called a mobile food market. And we transitioned an old school bus into a mobile food market where we had shelf-stable food. And of course, we would also add fresh produce and things of that nature. We upfitted this bus so it would have cooling capabilities for anything that needed to be refrigerated, had hand washing sink, so anyone who was dealing with the food could make sure everything stayed sanitary. And we went into our more vulnerable neighborhoods where we had a lot of children receiving services, and we were able to help provide that 2/3 nutrition through the mobile food market initiative. Since COVID, thankfully our centers are of course all back open, but we have continued that initiative. We're hoping to expand into some other counties with another mobile food market bus. We're in the works with that right now, so we're very excited to do that. And that was actually one of the things when we received our feedback from our application once the review process was over, that the reviewers were very happy to read about and really excited about. So think of the special things that you do for your kids and families. What kind of initiatives do you have? Do you have a unique parent and family engagement type of event? For example, we have one that is just based on dads because we know that fatherhood engagement is something really lacking in some of our communities. And so we talked about that event and how much of a turnout we had and what community partners were involved and things of that nature. So think of the creative things that you've done and the unique reasons that you think your program is successful, and then tell them about that. I know we're getting close to time. Keisha, do you want to keep going?
Yes, if people can hang on, we can extend, for a few more minutes to just take these next few questions if you have time.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah, so I see two more, so I'll definitely want to help answer those. So we have the next question, where can we find the indicators? So Keisha can correct me if I'm wrong. We did not have access to the indicators prior to signing up for the application process. We paid, we were registered, and then we had access to all of the indicators. Keisha, is that still the case?
Actually, on that slide, I think there is a link to indicators, but let me get back once we send out the recording and the slides from this out, there'll be a clear answer regarding indicators there. If we can just kind of hold off on that particular question. I know Courtney's making a note of some of the lingering questions also. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, and then our last question that I'm seeing is from Kathy, and Kathy asks, what are your biggest learnings and takeaways from the experience, and is there anything you might have done differently? Uh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I would do differently. This was very hard. For those of you at community action agencies, I was working on my CCAP certification at the same time I was working on the Program of Excellence application, and I don't recommend doing that. So, maybe avoid taking on any other large administrative burdens during the time that you're working on Program of Excellence. That's a big recommendation that I would make. As far as learnings and takeaways, having the entire agency work together on this project, getting folks from HR, fiscal, IT, housing and homelessness, community services, child development, all of our programs, all of our operations, getting all of those folks together in a room and saying, what are we doing well? What can we do better? And what do we want to do in the future? Those were great conversations to have, and getting everyone on the same page, not only because, hey, we want to get this Program of Excellence accreditation, we're very excited about it, but also to kind of keep that energy up. Once you start talking about how great your program is, you're going to want to keep that conversation going. And that's a conversation you want to have, of course, with your leadership team, but you want to take it outside of the room as well. And it made us a lot more eager to get out into our community and into the families and neighborhoods that we serve and say, look at all these things that we're doing. We want to serve you. What can we do better? Do you like this? Is there a need that we're not meeting that we can? We have this flexibility. We have these options. We want to help you. And so really, I think for me, the biggest takeaway was when you get your agency together and you have a common goal and a focus that you can use to bring folks together, it will make your program even better. If we could do Program of Excellence again, like next year, our application would be even better. And I think that will be true year over year for us because we did get this accreditation. Again, I can't emphasize enough, when you do this, make sure that you are completely answering the question, make sure that you are giving yourself plenty of time, and make sure that you do have that buy-in from your leadership team across the board at your agency. You are going to need all hands on deck. But yeah, I think it's great. I always recommend it. And the fact that you took the time today to come on to this webinar and listen to some of us chat about Program of Excellence, and the fact that you're interested in it is probably a really good indication that you should apply and see your way through and stay committed. That's the last thing I'll say. Stay committed to it. I think a lot of the folks who did not receive the accreditation at the end of the review period were probably people who dropped out because it was a lot of work and they didn't want to continue. Make sure you're ready to put in the time, and I have no doubt that you'll do great.
Thank you so much. I think someone asked some questions that I was able to respond to via, I guess, chat. Someone did ask about, is it similar to NACE accreditation? It is similar in terms of it's being that it's an accreditation. However, I will say that I would strongly encourage you to look at the NACE accreditation and also look at the NHSA Program of Excellence accreditation and kind of go with the accreditation that makes the most sense for your program, if that helps. But I will say that, as mentioned earlier, this accreditation definitely focuses on the innovation, your connection to the community, your connection to parent engagement, and program leadership and operations, specific to Head Start programming. So if that helps, I hope I was able to answer your question with that, but I do strongly recommend looking at both if there is a this or that choice, you know, in the future. So thank you for that question. No, thank you, Celeste, for answering the question regarding the site visit. That's still the case. For those who would like to email me, let me do this. Let me drop my email in the chat, even though it's on the last slide. So you can just pull it like a maybe cut and paste. If someone has like a pressing email, question, and you say, oh, I haven't, I didn't ask it during this session, please feel free to reach out to me via email. So this is it. It's K McRae, 2 C's, RAY at nhsa.org. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Celeste. I really appreciate you being here today and just really talking about your experience. I think that there is nothing like firsthand experience when it comes to something like this and the amount of time that it really takes to be successful with this particular accreditation. I don't review, just FYI, I don't review applications. I don't, provide any scoring or anything like that. My role is to definitely just, guide the process, provide support and coaching to programs that will be moving forward in the process. So again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to email me. And I think that we are going to end now. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening and happy holidays. Thank you.